Thanks for staying with us. Indigents of two communities in Delta State are at loggerheads over boundary disputes. Our community report tonight takes a look at this against the assurances from the Delta State government, which is making efforts to resolve the crisis.
It's a tale of two communities and one conflict, Alaja and Ogbijo, and a boundary dispute that has gone unresolved for a long time in Delta State. The Alaja community, who are Orobo, are asking the government to intervene by relocating the present headquarters of the Warri Southwest Local Government Council as a possible solution.
One of the ways which we believe will bring about lasting peace is the relocation of the federally ungazetted Warri Southwest Local Government Headquarters from Ogbijo in Alaja Udu land to its original location in Warri GRA or Ogidigbe or Baramaturu or whichever is your turn as the federal government names.
The Ogbijo, who are of Ijaw extraction, disagree with their neighbors and claim it will only add more fuel to the fire.
It is most unfortunate that the Alajapo came up with a press conference stating that the headquarters of Warri Southwest Local Government at Ogbijo is the cause of the crisis. You could recall that in 1995, when the crisis took place, Ogbijo was not a local government headquarters. So if the foundation of what they are saying today is because of the headquarters, then it shows that they don't have a basis. They're just woken up to foment trouble, to cause problem for the Ogbijo people and cause problem for the problem for the state government.
Enter the governor, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, at a media briefing in Asaba, who insists that the Delta State government is not taking sides in the issue and is working assiduously to resolve it.
This crisis has been on for several years, more than 2 years. We are very proactive in trying to address the issues, and people who go there know that. We have had several meetings. We have had to put up committees to look at the whole thing, and the white paper, yes, it's ready now.
As concerned parties await fruition of government intervention, these security vehicles remain stationed at possible boundary flashpoints for security operatives to keep a keen eye on the situation and prevent a recurrence of violence between the two communities.
And now to the arts. The Art X Lagos remains one of the biggest art fiestas in 2017. The annual event, organized by Shokini Peterside, saw more creatives and art patrons coming from near and far just to be part of the show. We see the works of art that made the cut on Art Review tonight.
That's just a drop in the ocean compared to what lies upstairs. The bulk of the works of art are waiting patiently for the audience to see the ingenuity that's in the continent and the countries that have braved the odds to be part of this international art fest.
This year we are showcasing artists from Ghana, from Cameroon, from Senegal, from Mali, from Ivory Coast, from South Africa, from Zimbabwe. The list is endless. In addition, we are showcasing some of Nigeria's finest talent.
The works of art are unique, seen in all shapes and sizes, twists and turns, which shows that the artists really put their minds into it.
This is the first time they're getting to see these sculptures. These sculptures were produced in the UK. They were lost for many years, and then Access Bank purchased them in 2013. And since then, only Access Bank employees and friends and staff have had recourse to these phenomenal works. We are so privileged at Artex Lagos to have the opportunity to showcase these sculptures for the first time to the Nigerian public. That is just one of the special projects that we have. We are remembering Fela Aníkúlápó Kuti on the 20th anniversary of his passing. We are also remembering Festac 77 on its 40th anniversary, which was passed this year.
With all the activity here, Most of the participants are already looking forward to the next outing.
This year's is a little bit more ambitious in regards to maybe the diversity of artists on display throughout the fair, and in terms of just the direction. So I think this year things are a little bit bigger, the production is a little bit bigger, it's a little bit more refined compared to last year, and yeah.
Incredible artists, incredible work that we need to showcase more on the continent and for the people on the continent. So this is why, to me, this art fair is going to be a great thing in 1 or 2 years. It is already a good thing, but it's going to be a great thing in 1 or 2 years.
The first edition attracted 5,000 visitors and 65 artists. The bar was raised at this second edition as 14 selected galleries and even more visitors kept pouring in during this year's Art X.
The influx of herdsmen into Yobe State is generating concern among residents in view of the clashes between them and farmers in other parts of the country. Due to the harmattan, the grass at this time is dry and not adequate to feed the cattle. In this special report, we take a look at this unusual influx into Yobe State, northeast Nigeria.
Cows roaming parts of Yobe State in search of food. However, the dry harmattan is making the situation difficult for them. Yobe is one of the leading states in the production of livestock, but this unusual concentration is raising concern among residents, a situation that has come to the notice of relevant authorities.
They are moving because of particular factors. That one, they need order to feed their animals, they need water, they need security. Wherever they didn't get this, one of these, definitely they will move.
The nomads who are living in Borno, the Kwayam, Badawi, and the Shuahara, all of them are living in Borno. Now they are migrating to Yobe State.
In Yobe, we have about 28 grazing reserves, and all these grazing reserves, we only need some support to keep our pastoralist families to settle along the grazing reserves. So actually what we require is maybe livestock service centers. We may require some boreholes, some nomadic school for their children, and this will keep them.
Nigeria's north-central region has experienced clashes between herdsmen and farmers. This has generated concern of a potential clash in Yobe State. However, those concerned profile solutions to avert any possible crisis.
We discussed with the planner and asked them to visit their own local people who are nomads in their areas, to telling them what is going on. We need peace in the state.
So why can't we maintain the route? This is what I'm saying. It is left for the farmers and the cattle rearers to sit down together and see to their own problems and try to solve it amicably among themselves. If you think that you are going to bring a police or an army or somebody to do that peace, you are wasting your time. These people are not with you. They are in the bush. They know themselves. Only that if it becomes so horrible that they run into the towns.
Another issue is the potential entry of transborder animal diseases into the state. However, the state government is taking relevant steps to vaccinate the animals.
We work hard, or even harder. We have to provide more vaccines and so on to ensure that our animals and indeed any other animals that are coming into Yobe State remain healthy, and that our people and whoever buys our animal eats a healthy meat.
The relationship between herdsmen and farmers is a contentious one. Both parties simply want to make a living for themselves. They're hoping the government can take the necessary steps to address these issues once and for all.
governor of Niger State, Sani Bello, has launched a community-based rural road maintenance scheme aimed at ensuring the roads are in good shape at all times. 15 cooperative societies from across the state are already being engaged and is expected to be funded through the second phase of the Rural Access and Mobility Project. And in continuation of our review of the year 2017, we wrap it up tonight with a look at the oil and gas sector. Our correspondent Olu Phillips tells us more.
For a sector on which the Nigerian budget is usually predicated, it's only natural that it generates lots of buzz and attention. So, the year 2017 witnessed the launch of an investigation by the Senate Committee on Gas into the Escravos Gas to Liquid project owned and completed by Chevron. The duty call was to ascertain why the project costs 10 times more compared to a similar project in Qatar with similar capacity and technology. Officials from the NNPC, Chevron and other stakeholders were invited for questioning. The outcome of the probe is yet to be made public. Experts say nothing less than $2 billion can be recovered. In the year also, an LPG summit was declared open by the Vice President, which aimed at finding ways to make LPG a major source of domestic fuel across homes in Nigeria. Gas is said to be cheaper and cleaner, Nigeria a gas province, but infrastructure to develop it and issues around taxation makes that difficult. The fallout, a presidential working committee was set up and a plan to distribute at least 3 million cylinders free to homes across Nigeria. That is not looking like the case. In 2016 alone, there were more than 20 attacks on critical pipelines which convey petrodollar in Nigeria, leaving a devastating impact on production levels. Some upstream companies posted red that a repeat will be one event too many. FG moved in, got boots on the waters and swampy terrains on the Niger Delta, an action many thought was counterproductive, so that as early as the first quarter, precisely February in 2017, the Vice President embarked on a tour of critical states, holding talks with the right persons and also conveying proposals of government about the region. He made audacious statements to the effect of federal government's commitment to licensing modular refineries to the applaud of many. Progress was made, nerves were calmed, production surged, reserves followed, relative peace returned, that in July the Trans-Focados line was back on stream after it was blown out for about 8 months, helping to bring back Nigeria technically out of recession. NNPC continued on an aggressive chase for oil in the Gongola Basin, the Chad Basin, and more. The Ground Geological Survey was on the way when 3 lecturers on the project in the Chad Basin were kidnapped by suspected Islamic militants. Sadly, they are yet to regain their freedom since July of 2017 till date. Another unfinished business in the sector is the partial passage of the Petroleum Industry Bill, one of the oldest bill. The Senate passed the governor's part of the bill while we await the concurrence from the lower chamber, and of course, that's not happening again in 2017. Mind you, that bill has been broken down into 3 parts: the governance, fiscal, which is regarded as the most critical by experts, and the host community, arguably the most controversial.
I just just like to solicit the support of everybody to let us together get it across the finishing line. If we don't do that this time around, it certainly will be.
At the ministerial level, the Minister of State for Petroleum, Dr. Yobe State, continued to pursue the 7 big wins, a reform document to reset the sector while awaiting a comprehensive document called Law for the Industry. One of the highlights of 2017 is the exemption from OPEC cuts, which the minister advocated, spearheaded, and got Nigeria a breather with an extension for 2018. But he has a worry.
For us to continue to project, the next battle for me is cost. Because at the end of all this, it doesn't matter what the volumes are. If we do not get our costs of production to a point that is reasonable and comparative to the very high-performing OPEC members, Saudi Arabia, UAE, that sort of Iran, then it doesn't matter what number anybody gives us, we're blowing it. And that's why you see me shouting all the time that I will have to work with NNPC, work with all the parastatals to keep, and work with the oil companies to keep driving those numbers down. Because
Still ahead on the news at 10, Manchester City's winning streak in the English Premier League comes to an end on New Year's Eve as they are held to a goalless draw by Crystal Palace. That's on Sports News. Stay with us.